Silence is the most powerful scream. That's a hard truth most people never want to face. My friends, when you finally go quiet, when you decide not to explain yourself anymore, when you stop chasing, your silence becomes the loudest message they'll ever hear. And here's the twist. That silence, that calm withdrawal, is exactly what plants the seed of regret deep inside them. The regret they'll never admit, but the regret they can never escape. So let me ask you, have you ever noticed how they acted like they didn't care the moment you walked away? They laughed, they posted, they told their friends, "I'm fine." But the truth is, silence doesn't end with your last word. It begins after it. And the longer you hold it, the more it grows. That's why in today's video, we're going to talk about the regret they hide after your silence. Folks, this is going to sting them, but it's going to empower you. Before we dive in, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me till the very end, because what you'll discover here might just change the way you see silence forever. Hey folks, imagine this. Imagine a stage play where one actor suddenly walks off mid-scene. The other actors are left stumbling, confused, their lines hanging in the air, meaningless without the one who left. That's what your silence does. It pulls you out of their script, and suddenly they can't perform the story the way they rehearsed it in their head. They thought they had control, that you would keep showing up for their little drama. But when you go silent, you tear the script in half, and nothing unsettles a person more than losing control of the story. My friends, people like to pretend they don't care. They love to act like your silence doesn't matter. But don't be fooled. The truth is, silence eats away at them in ways noise never could. Words they can argue with. Your silence, that's a wall they can't climb. It's a locked door with no key, and the human mind can't resist the question, why? Why aren't you reaching out? Why aren't you reacting? Why aren't you chasing? And that's where regret begins. It begins in the unknown. Let me break a lie right here. They didn't walk away stronger. They didn't move on clean. They left thinking you'd follow. They left believing your pride was weaker than their ego, but silence breaks that illusion. Silence says, I don't need you to complete me. Silence says, I can live without the noise you bring. And suddenly, they're forced to face what they've lost. Not your words, but your presence. Not your body, but your energy. Folks, silence isn't emptiness. Silence is presence amplified. Think of it like this. When a room suddenly goes quiet, everyone turns their head. When music suddenly stops, everyone notices. Silence pulls attention sharper than sound ever could. And that's exactly what happens when you withdraw. Your silence becomes the spotlight they never expected. They start hearing echoes of your absence in their everyday life. In the car ride, in the empty bed, in the spaces between conversations. And those echoes, those are the sounds of regret. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy. When they expected you to fight, you didn't. When they thought you'd beg, you stayed calm. When they thought you'd crumble, you rose higher." That's why silence is the ultimate Stoic weapon. It doesn't just protect you, it punishes them. Not through anger, but through absence. Not through shouting, but through stillness. So folks, remember this, silence is not weakness. It's wisdom, it's power, it's strategy, and it's the one thing that makes them realize your value without you having to prove it. They hide their regret, yes. They cover it with pride, but in the stillness of the night, when their phone doesn't buzz, when your voice doesn't show up, they feel it. They feel the cost of losing you, and that's where your strength lives, in the silence that forces them to face their own emptiness. Write this in the comments right now. Silence is my power. Show yourself, show me, and show the world that you've chosen composure over chaos. Stay with me, my friends, because what's coming next will open your eyes to just how deep their regret really goes. And don't forget, press the like button, hit subscribe, and let's dive deeper into the fire of dark Stoic energy. Number 1, the echo of silence. Where silence lives, truth echoes. That's not just philosophy, my friends. It's psychology. When you stop speaking, when you stop explaining, when you no longer offer them the comfort of your voice, something happens that rattles them deeper than any argument ever could. They begin to hear themselves. And for many people, that's the sound they fear the most. Because your silence is not just your absence, it is their mirror. And every time they look into it, they see the cracks they've been trying to cover up. Think about it like this. Imagine someone walking into an empty cathedral. The space is vast, still, and their every step echoes back at them. It's haunting, isn't it? That's what happens to them when you go silent. Their every thought, every memory, every regret begins to echo in the chambers of their mind. They thought silence meant victory, that you retreating meant weakness. But the truth is, silence exposes them. It leaves them alone with the one person they can't escape, themselves. And for many, that's a punishment louder than any words you could ever speak. And here's the question that begins to creep into their mind. Why aren't they talking to me? At first, they'll try to brush it off, tell themselves they don't care, but the mind is wired to notice absence. When something familiar disappears, the brain fixates on it. It replays old conversations. It recalls old moments. It digs through memories, searching for clues. And slowly, the silence that they mocked becomes the silence that keeps them awake at night. This is where the lie they told themselves starts to shatter. They thought you'd always be available, always reaching out, always ready to forgive, to chase, to explain. They mistook your kindness for weakness. But your silence breaks that illusion into pieces, and it's in those pieces that regret begins to form. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine a dripping faucet in a quiet house at night. At first, it's just a sound in the background, annoying maybe, but ignorable. But as the night deepens, as the silence of the house grows heavier, that drip becomes louder. It's all you hear. It dominates the room. That's what your silence does. It amplifies. At first, they think it's nothing, but over time, it becomes the only thing they notice. And in that noticing, the echoes of regret begin. Epictetus once said, "Silence is safer than speech, and safer it is for you, but for them, your silence is the most dangerous weapon you could ever use, because silence doesn't just stop the conversation, it starts a new one in their head." They begin asking themselves, did I push too far? Did I lose something real? Why aren't they fighting for me? And these questions eat away at them, even if they'd rather die than admit it out loud. But let's break another lie here. They might act like they're happy without you. They might post pictures, smile in public, laugh louder than usual. But remember, folks, performance is not reality. What they show the world is not what they feel when the crowd is gone. Because regret doesn't scream in daylight, it whispers in the dark. And when they lay their head down at night, when the phone screen stays black, when your voice doesn't come through, that's when regret takes its sharpest bite. Why is it so difficult for them? Because silence removes their ability to control. See, when you argue, they still get your energy. When you explain, they still get your attention. When you fight, they still feel your presence. But when you go silent, you starve their ego. You cut off the supply. You take away the fuel that kept their illusion alive. And without it, they're forced to sit in the emptiness of their own making. That's why silence feels so heavy for them, because it exposes the void they carry inside. Now let's flip the mirror. Why do they think like this? Because most people believe the story that attention equals value. They measure their worth in how much you pursue them. They grow comfortable in the idea that you'll always be there. And when you step back, when you stop feeding that story, they're left scrambling to rewrite the ending. But no matter how hard they try, the silence stays. It lingers, and regret keeps creeping in like smoke through the cracks. My friends, let me remind you, your silence doesn't just protect your peace, it creates pressure on them to see what they lost, to realize what they wasted, to confront the truth they've been hiding. It's not revenge, it's revelation. You didn't destroy them with anger, you destroyed their illusion with absence. That's dark Stoic energy. That's power. So the next time you feel tempted to break your silence, to explain, to check in, remember this: silence is already speaking louder than anything you could say. Every day you stay quiet, the echo grows stronger. Every day you withhold your energy, the regret inside them grows heavier. And one day they'll look back and realize it wasn't your words that haunted them. It was the echo of your silence. Write this in the comments right now. My silence echoes power. Show them, show me, and show yourself that you've chosen restraint over reaction, composure over chaos. And stay with me, because in the next part, we're going even deeper into the illusions they cling to, and how your silence shatters them piece by piece. Number 2, illusions shattered. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca's words cut deep here, because when you go silent, their imagination becomes their prison. My friends, silence is not just absence, it is the shattering of illusions. And if there's one thing the human ego hates most, it's when the story it wrote about itself begins to collapse. They had a script. They thought they knew their role and yours. They believed you'd always be the one reaching out, always softening, always bending back into their orbit. Your silence smashes that belief like glass, leaving them barefoot, walking on the shards of their own arrogance. Imagine this with me, a magician on stage, performing his favorite trick, confident the audience will clap. But halfway through, his assistant vanishes, not because of the trick, but because she chose to walk off the stage. The magician is left fumbling, holding props that mean nothing without her presence. That's what happens when you stop playing their game. They thought they had control, but your silence shows them they were only holding onto an illusion. And illusions, my friends, always crack when reality steps in. Now here's the truth they'll never say out loud. They built their confidence not on their own strength, but on your response. They measured their worth through how much they could pull you, push you, test you. They believed you'd always break, that your voice would always return, that you'd always explain yourself. But when you chose silence, you didn't just withhold words, you shattered the false foundation they stood on. And now, without your energy propping them up, the tower starts to crumble. And in the quiet, questions begin to haunt them. What if I was wrong? What if I pushed too far? What if they don't care anymore? These questions eat at them, and they can't silence them with distractions for long. Pride may keep them posting, laughing, pretending, but beneath that performance, regret is digging its claws deeper every single day. Let's break another lie right here. They might tell themselves you didn't matter, that they walked away untouched. But if you truly didn't matter, your silence wouldn't sting. If you were truly forgettable, your absence wouldn't echo. The fact that they even notice your silence, the fact that they try so hard to mask it, is proof that you mattered more than their ego will ever let them admit. Why is this so difficult for them? Because silence kills their illusion of power. When you argue, you feed the story that they are central, that they still have control. When you explain, you validate their importance. But silence denies them the oxygen they need. It says, I am no longer orbiting you. And without your gravity, they realize how empty their world feels. Think of it like a mirror breaking. For so long, they looked into you and saw only their own reflection, validation, comfort, ego strokes. But when the mirror shatters, they're left facing themselves, raw and unfiltered. That's why silence is so brutal. It strips away the mask. It forces them to see what they've lost, not just you, but the version of themselves they thought they controlled through you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That's the secret they never learned. They tried to control the outside, you, the situation, the drama. But your silence throws them back into their own mind, where they have no mastery, no control, no escape. That's why regret blooms there. Because silence shows them that the only person they can't run from is themselves. So here's the motivation, folks. Don't be afraid of the silence. Don't think you're losing when you withhold your voice. You're not abandoning the game, you're ending it. And in doing so, you expose the truth. Their illusions only existed as long as you played along. And now, with your silence, you've shattered them. What's left behind is regret. The regret of losing the very thing they thought they'd always control. Write this in the comments right now. My silence shatters illusions. Show the world, show yourself, and even show them that you understand your own power. And stay with me, because next we're going to uncover the hidden weight of what's left unsaid, and why it's often heavier than anything you could ever speak aloud. Number 3, the weight of what's unsaid. Silence is one of the great arts of conversation. Cicero said that centuries ago, and yet it lands with even more force today. My friends, let's be honest. Words are cheap. Anyone can talk, anyone can explain, anyone can excuse. But silence is different. Silence is not the absence of words. It is the presence of weight. It is the heaviness that lingers after you stop giving them access to your voice. And believe me, what you don't say often burns deeper than anything you ever could. Think about this. When you walk out of a room mid-argument, leaving the other person with their anger unresolved, what happens? Do they feel victorious? No. They're left restless. They replay everything. They rehearse what they would have said if you had stayed. They wonder if they said too much, if they crossed a line, if maybe this time you won't come back. That's the weight of what's unsaid. It forces them into dialogue with themselves, and that dialogue is far more painful than anything you could have delivered face to face. Here's a metaphor for you. Imagine being handed a letter sealed with wax. You can feel its thickness, the mystery of what's inside, but you're told you'll never be allowed to open it. That letter would haunt you. You'd imagine what it said. You'd obsess over its contents. You'd lose sleep replaying possibilities. That's what your silence becomes for them. A sealed letter they can never open. And the longer it stays closed, the heavier it gets. And this is where their fear begins to grow. They start to wonder, what does your silence mean? Is it anger? Is it indifference? Is it strength? Is it finality? And the truth is, it could be any of these. But because you don't say it, because you don't give them the comfort of clarity, their imagination begins to spiral. And nothing breeds regret faster than imagination. Because in imagination, they'll see the best version of you, the version they pushed away, the version they lost. They'll imagine what life could have been if they hadn't broken it. And in those moments, regret doesn't whisper, it screams inside their mind. The lie they told themselves was this, that closure comes with words. They thought if they explained, if they argued, if they left on a strong note, they could close the book on you, but your silence denies them that closure. And let me tell you folks, nothing unsettles a human heart more than an unfinished story. That silence forces them to keep rereading the last chapter in their head, searching for meaning that isn't there. And in that endless loop, regret festers. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." You see, your silence might make them call you cold, distant, even uncaring. But what they don't admit is that your restraint is carving deeper into them than their insults ever could. Because silence makes them feel unseen, unimportant, and irrelevant. And for someone who once felt entitled to your attention, that loss cuts deeper than any insult you could deliver. Now let's break another illusion. They might think silence means you've got nothing to say. They may convince themselves they're just quiet because they're weak, because they don't know how to respond. But deep down, they know the truth. Silence is not weakness, it's control. It takes strength to hold back when you could lash out. It takes mastery to withhold when your emotions beg you to release. And that mastery terrifies them because it reveals something they never had over you: power over self. Let me give you another picture. Imagine standing on the edge of a cliff with the wind howling around you. You don't need to shout to feel its force. The silence of that moment, the pause, the height, the unspoken possibility of falling is more powerful than any scream. That's your silence. It's the cliff they're staring at, the unknown that makes their knees weak, the possibility that your absence is permanent. And in that unknown, they're left to wrestle with every mistake they made. This is why the unsaid weighs more than the said, because once words are spoken, they're out, they're done, they lose their power with time. But silence doesn't end. It stretches, it grows, it lingers. It becomes a storm cloud hanging over their head, reminding them every day of what they can't undo. And in that stretching silence, their pride starts to crumble, their arrogance starts to weaken, their regret begins to take root. Marcus Aurelius taught us, the nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength. That's what you embody when you choose silence, a calm strength. You don't rush to fill the air with explanations. You don't scramble to prove your side. You sit in your power, and in doing so, you let them carry the weight of every unspoken word. That's the kind of energy they can't shake. That's the kind of presence that forces them to reckon with themselves. And make no mistake, they will try to escape it. They'll laugh louder, surround themselves with noise, distract themselves with new people. But when the world goes quiet, when the music fades, when the night is still, that's when your silence echoes the loudest. And it echoes with regret. Regret for what they did. Regret for what they lost. Regret for what they'll never have again. So, my friends, don't be afraid to leave things unsaid. Don't be afraid to let silence carry the weight that words never could. Because in that silence, you hold the upper hand, you hold the power, you hold the presence that lingers long after the last conversation ends. Write this in the comments right now. My silence carries weight. Say it, show it, and live it. Because when you understand the art of what's unsaid, you rise above the noise. And stay with me, because in the next part, we'll go even deeper into the void they can't escape, the emptiness your absence leaves behind, and why it terrifies them more than they'll ever admit. Number 4, the void they can't escape. Hell is empty, and all the devils are here. Shakespeare wrote that, but my friends, sometimes hell is not a place, it's a void. A silence so deep, so endless, that it forces a person to sit with their own demons. And that's exactly what happens to them when you withdraw. When your voice disappears, when your presence is gone, when you no longer feed their ego with your energy, you create a void. And this void, though invisible, becomes their loudest torment. It's not the absence of you, it's the echo of everything they lost, ringing louder because nothing is there to drown it out. Picture this: a house once filled with laughter, conversation, movement, the sound of footsteps in the hallway, the gentle hum of life in every room. Then, one day, it's empty. The walls are the same, the furniture still in place, but the energy is gone. And in that emptiness, the silence screams. Every corner reminds them of what once was. Every echo of their own footsteps feels haunting. That's the void your absence creates for them. They may try to ignore it, cover it with noise, but deep down, they can't escape it. And here's the haunting truth: the human mind is uncomfortable with emptiness. When something is missing, it scrambles to fill the space. When you go silent, when you step back, they begin to fill the void with thoughts, with memories, with what-ifs. What if they moved on? What if they don't care anymore? What if I lost the best thing I ever had? These questions don't stop. They multiply. And with each passing day, the void you left becomes more unbearable. Let's break a lie here. They might have told themselves you were replaceable, that someone else could easily take your spot. But here's the truth: no two presences are the same. They can surround themselves with new faces, new conversations, new distractions, but none of it fills the space carved out by you. Because you weren't just noise, you were connection, and connection, once it's gone, leaves a gap that no amount of shallow substitutes can fill. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." But for them, your silence becomes the outside event they cannot control, and in failing to control it, they spiral. They feel powerless, and that powerlessness becomes regret. Regret that they didn't appreciate you when you were there. Regret that they took your presence for granted. Regret that they're now left with an empty space where you once stood. Think of it like oxygen. You don't notice it until it's gone. They didn't notice the depth of your presence while you were near because they assumed it would always be there. But when you removed yourself, suddenly they couldn't breathe as freely. The air feels thinner, every moment feels heavier. That's the void. They suffocate not because you attacked, not because you lashed out, but because you simply withdrew. And in that suffocation, regret grows sharper. Now here's the psychological trick. The void makes them do the work for you. You're not chasing, you're not explaining, you're not even there. But their mind is working overtime, filling the silence with scenarios. They imagine you happy without them. They imagine you thriving. They imagine you forgetting them, moving on, finding someone else. And each of these images stabs them with a different kind of regret. Their pride won't let them say it, but inside, the emptiness becomes unbearable. And yet, folks, here's what makes it so powerful. Voids can't be hidden. No matter how much they laugh in public, no matter how much they post online, the emptiness follows them home. When the night comes, when they put their phone down, when the crowd is gone, that's when the void speaks the loudest. It whispers in their head, it presses on their chest, it reminds them of what they lost. And no distraction in the world can silence that voice. Epictetus once taught, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." And that's exactly what your silence does. The void doesn't create regret. It reveals it. It reveals their dependence on you. It reveals their weakness. It reveals how much of their sense of self was tied to the energy you gave. And when all of that is gone, they are forced to see themselves without the comfort of your presence. And for many, that's a mirror too dark to face. Here's the motivation for you. Don't fear creating the void. Don't think that stepping back makes you forgotten. In reality, it makes you unforgettable, because people don't regret what's still in front of them. They regret what they can't have anymore. Your silence turns you into the thing they can't grasp, the absence they can't fix, the mystery they can't solve. And nothing drives a person deeper into regret than knowing they can't undo what's been done. So let me ask you, why would you trade that power for a few weak words? Why would you rush to fill the silence when the silence itself is the lesson? The void is not your loss, it's their burden. And the longer you hold it, the heavier it becomes for them. Imagine a clock ticking in an empty room. With every tick, they are reminded of time passing, of distance growing, of opportunities lost. That's the void. They can't stop the ticking. They can't rewind the clock. They can only sit there drowning in the regret of what could have been. And you walk forward, freer, stronger, calmer. That's the beauty of dark Stoic energy. It doesn't chase, it doesn't prove, it doesn't beg. It lets silence do the speaking, and silence always speaks louder than noise. So, my friends, write this in the comments right now. I create the void they can't escape. Say it with pride, because it's not just a phrase, it's your truth. Let the world see it, let yourself feel it, and let them face the emptiness they created by losing you. And stay with me, because in the next part, we'll dive even deeper into the regret they hide beneath their pride. The regret they'll never show you, but the regret that silently consumes them when no one is watching. Number 5. Regret hidden in pride. Pride is concerned with who is right. Humility is concerned with what is right. And my friends, this is where things get darkly fascinating, because when you go silent, they do feel regret. Make no mistake about that. But they will never admit it. They bury it. They hide it. They wrap it up in pride, because pride is their last shield, their last disguise. And on the surface, they may look untouchable, but beneath that armor, regret burns like fire in the shadows. Imagine this with me, a cracked vase sitting on a shelf. From the front, it looks perfect, polished, untouched, but turn it around and the back is splintered with fractures glued together just enough to hold. That's them. That's how they live after your silence. To the world, they perform strength. They smile, they post, they laugh louder than ever. But in the quiet corners, when no one's looking, the cracks show. And every crack whispers the truth. They regret what they lost. But here's the irony. Pride won't let them confess it. To admit regret would mean admitting they were wrong. To admit regret would mean admitting they misjudged your worth. And for many people, that's a pill they'd rather choke on than swallow. So instead, they pretend. They build walls. They convince themselves, I'm fine without them, all while secretly haunted by memories that won't fade. Let me ask you, how many times have you seen someone go out of their way to prove they're happy after a breakup? The pictures, the parties, the sudden bursts of living their best life. My friends, that's not happiness. That's performance. That's ego dressing itself up to hide the emptiness your silence carved into them. Because if they were truly happy, they wouldn't need to prove it. The louder they perform, the deeper the silence echoes inside them. Seneca once said, "He who does not prevent a crime when he can, encourages it." Translate that into regret, and you see the truth. They could have valued you when you were there, but they didn't. They could have chosen differently, but they didn't. And now that your silence holds the mirror to their face, they have to live with that choice. Yet instead of admitting it, they clutch pride like a mask. A mask that fools others, maybe, but never fools themselves. Here's the painful truth. Regret rarely looks like tears. Regret often looks like arrogance. It looks like pretending not to care. It looks like brushing you off as if you were nothing. But that's the act. Underneath, their mind replays moments. Their heart replays conversations. Their soul replays what they lost. And because pride blocks confession, the regret has nowhere to go. It festers, it grows, it poisons. That's why pride doesn't heal regret, it magnifies it. Think about this metaphor. A child who touches a hot stove and gets burned may scream, cry, and admit the pain. That pain teaches them. But an adult who gets burned and pretends it didn't hurt? That's pride. They hide the blister, smile through the pain, and act like nothing happened. But the burn is still there. It throbs, it aches, it leaves a scar. That's what your silence did to them. The burn is real, but pride won't let them admit it. And here's the twist. Sometimes pride is louder than their own desire to heal. They'd rather lose you than look weak. They'd rather live with regret than risk humility. And yet, deep inside they know. They know they mishandled you. They know they underestimated your strength. They know they pushed too far, and your silence became the proof that you wouldn't bend back this time. Marcus Aurelius taught, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Apply that here. They waste time arguing with themselves, justifying, defending, posturing. But the truth is, they know what they lost. And while they cling to pride outwardly, regret keeps them awake inwardly. Now, let's break the lie they live in. They want you to believe they don't feel anything. They want you to think your silence doesn't matter. But silence has already done its work. Regret isn't erased by pride. It's only buried. And what's buried in the human heart always rises again. It rises in unexpected ways, in irritation, in jealousy, in sudden bursts of anger when they see you thriving. Pride may hide regret, but it cannot kill it. And here's the motivation for you. Don't let their pride trick you. Don't fall for the performance. When you see them acting unaffected, understand that's the mask talking, not the soul. The soul is bruised. The soul is restless. The soul feels the emptiness your silence left behind. You don't need their confession. You don't need their apology. Their pride will never hand you closure, but their regret will always remind them of the truth. So, what do? You stay the course. You don't break silence to force them to admit regret. Because remember, their pride is not your burden. Their regret is not your responsibility. Your job is to keep walking forward, to let their silence weigh heavier than your words ever could, because eventually the weight breaks them down from the inside out. Picture it like this: a dam holding back water. On the surface, the dam looks solid, immovable, but underneath, cracks spread quietly, pressure builds, and one day it bursts. That's what happens when pride holds back regret. On the outside, they look strong. On the inside, the pressure grows, and eventually it consumes them. Your silence is the water pressing harder every day, showing them the cost of losing you. So, my friends, never doubt the effect of your silence. Even when pride disguises it, regret is always there. Regret hidden in pride is like smoke trapped under glass. It doesn't vanish, it suffocates. And the longer it stays hidden, the more unbearable it becomes. Write this in the comments right now. Their pride hides regret. My silence shows truth. Show yourself, show me, and show the world around you that you understand the deeper game. And stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to explore the ultimate layer. How your silence becomes a test of power, and why true strength isn't found in noise, but in restraint. Number 6, the test of power. The best answer to anger is silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote that, and my friends, this is where your silence evolves from a reaction into something far greater, a test. Not a test of them, but a test of you. Because silence isn't just about making them regret. It's about proving to yourself that you have mastered the hardest form of power, restraint. Noise is easy. Anyone can yell, argue, explain, chase. But the one who holds their ground in silence, That's the one who carries real strength. Think of the lion. Does the lion roar at every disturbance in the jungle? No, the lion roars when it chooses, and only when it matters. Most of the time the lion rests in silence because its power is unquestioned. Your silence is the same. It tells the world, and more importantly, it tells them that you are not ruled by impulse. You are not shaken by their attempts to bait you. You are not desperate for attention or validation. You know your value, and you don't need to shout it to prove it. Now imagine this scenario. They send a text after weeks of absence, a short message, maybe just, "Hey." They expect you to respond instantly. They expect eagerness, explanations, old patterns resurfacing, but your silence stands firm. You don't react. You don't chase. You don't hand them your energy on a silver platter. What happens? Their illusion of control collapses. They realize they can't summon you at will anymore. That, my friends, is the test of power. Your silence exposes the truth. They never had control over you. You had control over yourself all along. Let me break a lie here. People will try to convince you that silence means weakness, that speaking up, lashing out, or saying your piece is strength. But think about it. Who truly has power? The person who loses control every time they're provoked, or the one who stands unshaken, letting the other exhaust themselves in noise? The Stoics knew the answer. True power is not reaction. True power is response. And sometimes the most powerful response is none at all. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." And silence is the ultimate disciplined reaction. When you stay silent, you're not ignoring them. You're mastering you. You're choosing not to waste energy on what doesn't serve you. You're proving that you can carry your emotions without letting them explode out of you. That's not suppression, that's sovereignty, that's dark Stoic energy. But here's what makes this so difficult and so powerful. Silence forces you to face your own restlessness. Because let's be real, every fiber of you may want to respond. You may want to prove your side, defend your worth, show them you don't care. But that urge? That's ego begging to be fed. And when you deny it, when you sit calmly in silence instead, you don't just test them, you test yourself. And with each day you hold, your strength grows. Think of a sword. Steel becomes sharp not by staying cool, but by enduring the fire. Your silence is that fire. It forges you into someone sharper, calmer, stronger. Each time you resist the urge to break silence, you strengthen your self-command. And each time they realize they cannot shake you, they regret ever underestimating you. That's the test, and you are passing it every day you choose restraint over reaction. Now picture it from their side. They poke, they test, they try to draw you out, and you remain still. They begin to wonder, why aren't they reacting? Why don't I have the same pull over them anymore? That uncertainty eats at them. It makes them restless. It forces them to replay their mistakes. And here's the beauty. You don't need to say a word. Your silence does the speaking for you. It says, I am not desperate. I am not controlled. I am free. And let's not forget, silence reveals character, because in silence, masks slip. When you stop engaging, when you stop explaining, you see who people truly are. Do they respect your boundary, or do they grow angry? Do they handle your silence with grace, or do they crumble under it? This is why silence is not just a test of you, it's a test of them too. It reveals what their pride was hiding, and often it reveals just how much they regret letting you slip away. Seneca wrote, "He who is brave is free." That's what silence teaches you. It's bravery, it's freedom, it's standing firm when everything inside you wants to act, and instead saying, no, my calm is my weapon, my restraint is my strength. And when you live that, you realize something powerful. Silence isn't about punishing them. It's about mastering you. It's about no longer being enslaved to emotions or ego. And ironically, it's that mastery that makes them feel the deepest regret. Because now they can't reach you. Not through words, not through manipulation, not through noise. You've risen above it. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The winds rage, the rain lashes, trees bend and break. But there you stand, unmoved, eyes steady, grounded in silence. That's what they see when you choose not to react. And that image, your calm in the storm, burns into their memory. It becomes the picture they regret losing, because deep down, everyone craves the anchor they cannot be. So here's the motivation for you folks. Every time you choose silence, you choose strength. Every time you hold back when you could react, you rise higher. Every time you let their noise die out against the wall of your calm, you show them what true power looks like. And the best part? You don't need to convince anyone. You don't need to prove anything. You are the proof. Write this in the comments right now. My silence is my strength. Say it, show it, and let it echo. Because when you understand that silence is not emptiness but discipline, you stop fearing it. You start wielding it. And that, my friends, is when regret takes its deepest root in them. Because nothing makes a person feel smaller than realizing they no longer have power over your peace. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to talk about how your silence doesn't just test power, it sparks curiosity. And curiosity, once lit, turns into obsession. That's the next layer of regret they can't run from, and it's darker than they'll ever admit. Number 7. The return of curiosity. The unknown always inspires the greatest curiosity. That's a truth as old as time, my friends. And when you go silent, when you retreat into stillness, when you stop feeding them your words and your presence, something begins to stir inside them that they can't control. It starts small, like a whisper in the back of their mind, but it grows louder, heavier, more relentless. That whisper is curiosity, and curiosity, left unchecked, becomes obsession. This is the hidden torture your silence delivers. Not rage, not noise, not confrontation. Just questions. Questions that loop endlessly inside their head, with no answers to ease the ache. Think about it. People are rarely haunted by what they know. They're haunted by what they don't know. And your silence creates that exact mystery. They wonder, what are you doing? Who are you with? Have you moved on? Do you think about them at all? Do you even care anymore? These questions don't come once. They come in waves at random times of the day, and each time they hit, they leave behind more restlessness, more regret. Here's the irony. When you were present, when you gave them your voice, your energy, your explanations, they felt secure. They thought they had you figured out. They thought they knew your patterns, your responses, your next move. But silence breaks that pattern. Suddenly, they don't know. Suddenly, they're locked out. Suddenly, the door they used to open at will is sealed shut. And nothing eats at the human ego like being denied access to what it once controlled. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts, and their thoughts, once full of arrogance, now become stained with curiosity." Because silence doesn't just remove you, it replaces you with endless what-ifs. They imagine scenarios. They see you smiling without them. They picture you with someone better. They replay memories, searching for clues they might have missed. And here's the dark part. They can't stop. The more you withhold, the more their imagination fills in the gaps. And imagination, my friends, is always more powerful than reality. Let me give you a metaphor. Picture a locked chest sitting in the middle of a room. People may glance at it and ignore it, but over time, the mystery eats at them. What's inside? They can't shake the question. They circle it. They touch it. They dream about it. That's you once you go silent. You become the locked chest they can't open, and every day they're denied access. Their curiosity turns sharper, more unbearable. Now let's break another lie. They may act like they don't care what you're doing. They may even tell themselves you're irrelevant now, but actions always reveal the truth. They check your socials when no one's watching. They scroll old conversations, maybe even draft a message they never send. They fish for information from mutual friends. That's curiosity clawing at them, and behind that curiosity lies regret. The regret of realizing they no longer know you, no longer hold the privilege of access to your inner world. And here's the kicker: curiosity always leads to longing. Because once curiosity awakens, the human mind starts creating stories. And those stories, more often than not, paint you in a better light than reality ever did. They imagine you stronger, calmer, happier. They imagine you upgraded. They imagine you living a life that makes their absence glaringly obvious. And every one of those thoughts is a stab of regret, sharper than any confrontation you could have delivered. Epictetus once said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Your silence might make them think you're cold, detached, uninterested. Let them. Because while their pride is busy mislabeling your strength, their curiosity is busy undoing them from within. They can pretend all they want, but curiosity is a slow poison. It seeps into their mind when they least expect it. While they're at dinner, while they're driving, while they're lying awake at night staring at the ceiling. That's when it whispers, "What are they doing right now? Do they even remember me? Do they regret me? Or worse, have they forgotten me completely?" And that's the tragedy for them. Because the more they wonder, the more they regret. They regret not appreciating you when they had certainty. They regret pushing you away when they could have chosen closeness. They regret taking your presence for granted, because now, in your silence, they realize it wasn't guaranteed. And the human mind always regrets most what it can't get back. Think of curiosity like fire. Left small, it flickers harmlessly, but feed it with silence, and it spreads. It burns through their thoughts, their pride, their distractions. It consumes, and the more it consumes, the more unbearable their regret becomes. Because now they don't just miss you, they crave to know you again. But your silence makes that impossible, and that impossibility is where their torment begins. Seneca said, "To wish to be well is a part of becoming well." Translate that into this context. Their curiosity becomes the wish to reconnect. But your silence denies that wish. It holds the boundary. It proves that their desire, their regret, their longing cannot control you anymore. And that, my friends, is power. That's the essence of dark Stoic energy. Not chasing, not feeding, not reacting. Just standing firm in silence while their curiosity eats them alive. So, let's make this real for you. The next time you feel tempted to break silence, remember this: every unanswered question they carry is a weight on their shoulders. Every day you remain quiet, the mystery grows heavier. Every night they wonder, regret digs deeper. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't need to show them your strength. Your silence already has. Here's your affirmation, and I want you to write it in the comments right now. My silence makes them wonder. Say it, show it, own it. Because when you realize that curiosity is your ally, you stop fearing silence. You start wielding it. And stay with me, because in the next part, we're going to step into the darkest corner of all, the regret that burns in shadows, the kind they'll never show the world, but can never escape when they're alone. Number 8, the regret that burns in shadows. Silence is sometimes the best answer. The Dalai Lama said that, and my friends, in the realm of relationships, in the storms of human connection, nothing cuts deeper than silence. Not silence as absence, not silence as weakness, silence as a weapon, silence as a mirror, silence as a choice. And in that choice, regret takes root. Not in the open, not in the light, but in the shadows where pride cannot disguise it. This is the final layer. The hidden place where their regret lives, the part they will never admit but will carry like a chain around their soul. Think about it. Out in the world, they might look strong. They'll laugh, they'll smile, they'll post pictures of nights out and moments that look full of life. They'll tell their friends, "I'm fine." They'll even act like your silence means nothing. But in the quiet, when the mask slips, that's when the shadows whisper. That's when regret burns, and it burns in ways they can't control. Imagine a candle burning in a dark room. To anyone glancing quickly, the light looks steady. But watch closer, and you'll see the flame flicker, the wax dripping lower, the heat bending under the weight of its own fire. That's them. On the surface, steady. Inside, flickering, and every drop of wax is a piece of regret, melting slowly, reminding them of the silence they cannot escape. Why do they hide it? Because pride demands it. To show regret is to show weakness. To admit regret is to admit they lost something they should have cherished. But here's the truth. They can't run from what they feel in the dark. Because silence isn't just absence, it's a constant presence. It lingers in their mind. It sneaks into their dreams. It shapes their thoughts when they least expect it. That's why regret in the shadows is heavier than regret in the open, because there's no escape, no release, no performance that can erase it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." And that's exactly what your silence has been. They may have used noise, manipulation, games. You chose none of that. You chose stillness. And that stillness speaks louder than every excuse they ever made. It forces them to see themselves for who they are without you. And in those moments, regret doesn't whisper, it roars. But here's the paradox. Regret in the shadows often looks like indifference in the light. They'll act like they're fine, like they've moved on. But shadow regret has a way of seeping through the cracks. It shows in the way their smile doesn't reach their eyes. It shows in the way their laughter sounds hollow. It shows in the way they suddenly fall quiet when someone mentions your name. These are the tells, the little leaks of truth. But they'll never admit them outright. Why? Because to them, admitting regret is to admit defeat. But you don't need their confession. You don't need their apology. You don't need their words. Their silence, yes, their silence, screams it back to you. Because silence always mirrors silence. When you stop speaking, they eventually stop too. And in that double silence, regret grows unbearable. Now let me break one more lie before we close. They want you to think they're free of you. They want you to believe your silence doesn't matter. But freedom isn't proven by distraction. It's proven by peace. And peace is the one thing their regret robs them of. Because your silence has become the ghost that walks beside them. It doesn't need to be loud. It doesn't need to confront them. It just exists, reminding them of what they lost. Reminding them of what they can't get back. Think about it. How many times in your own life have you regretted something but never said it out loud? It doesn't make the regret vanish. In fact, the more you hide it, the more it grows. That's their reality now. A regret that grows in the dark, feeding on silence, feeding on what-ifs, feeding on the haunting awareness that they let go of something rare. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it, and nothing screams waste louder than regret." That's what they feel now. Not because you shouted, not because you explained, not because you begged, but because you didn't, because you chose silence, and in doing so, you forced them to see their waste, their loss, their mistake. So here's where the motivation comes in. Don't break your silence to ease their guilt. Don't chase their confession to validate your strength. You don't need it. Your silence has already done the work. It has revealed their pride. It has stripped their illusions. It has tested your power. It has sparked their curiosity. And now it has buried them in regret. A regret they'll never show the world, but one they'll carry alone, in the shadows, where only they can hear it. My friends, this is dark Stoic energy. It's not about revenge. It's not about anger. It's about restraint, mastery, and the quiet kind of power that doesn't just shake the room. It haunts it. And when you understand that, you'll never fear silence again. You'll wield it, you'll let it speak for you, and you'll watch as regret does the rest. So here's what I want you to do right now. Write this in the comments. My silence is unforgettable. Let the world see it. Let them see it. Let yourself believe it. Because when you embrace silence as your weapon, you don't just protect your peace. You make your absence louder than any presence they'll ever find again. And if this spoke to you, if you felt the truth in these words, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me. Because here, we don't play the surface game. We don't chase illusions. We go deep. We dive into the fire, and we rise, stronger, calmer, untouchable.